Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to today's Pick a Card reading. Today, we're looking at how the person on your mind sees you, and we have 3 groups plus extended readings to follow up the main readings with. And every reading has been very juicy, very interesting, possibly because I've been gone for a while. So there was a lot to say. But I hope they will be helpful to you, and I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is okay. Well, better than okay. I hope everything is great, wonderful, amazing. Let me know how you're doing. I've missed being here, and every time I'm gone for a bit and I come back, I think the same. But I suppose I just needed to be more present with my life. It wasn't planned, it kind of just happened. I didn't have as much to give outside of just focusing on my own life. But, and this channel is not for this, so I'm not gonna get into it too much, but just because some of you have checked in with me, just wanted to say that everything is okay. I'm okay. I've just, I think, spent some time in my cocoon, as much as I don't love that word. It just doesn't sound really good to me. I don't know. But yeah, it's just, I've been focusing on myself, on my life, on being more present with myself and my life and the people around me. There's a lot of new happening in my life, a lot of change that happened, and I guess that takes some energy out of you. So, yeah, I hope to be around more, but I also don't know how consistent I will be. Yeah, I will be as consistent as my schedule allows. My studies are relaxed for the time being, with it being summer and all. But in a couple of weeks, it's going to get a bit busier. But I will still try to be here as often as I can because I love reading for you. Yeah. So thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to do this. Yeah, we'll talk more later. And personal readings are available for the time being. I don't know how long they will be available for, so I'm not going to comment on it, but until I say otherwise, they're available. So I will now leave you to focus on which deck calls to you the most, and I will see you soon. Hello, my beautiful group ones, and welcome to your reading. Today we're looking at how the person on your mind currently sees you, and we're going to start off with a little energy check so you can decide if this is your group or if you want to try a different one or if you want to click off all together. Everything is fine. I just had a vision of, in my mind's eye, I think the 10 of Swords in the Modern Witch Tarot deck says everything is fine on it. Or maybe this is not true, but in any case, that's what I saw. So regardless of the exact association or where it comes from, I think this is a situation where this connection came to an end, at least in the official or physical sense. I also am seeing the initials C and C, or it's making me think of cord cutting. So that could have been something you have done or considered doing in relation to this connection. Also, CC custom content makes me think of coding or gaming. But let's get into this energy. We have some oracles first and also a tarot card to represent the energy of what has happened and what is happening. We have the moon representing your energy in this connection as it is, not from this person's perspective, not yet. We have the bat. Makes me think of battles. Battles have been fought in this connection. This is not something that ended without a fight. This is not something that maybe ever was without fights, at least internally, if not externally, because with double moon energy coming out right now, there's also a moon above the bat. This connection has been a lot about sensing, a lot about hidden information, or trying to figure out the other person's intentions, visions. We have inner space and universal knowledge. This is the number 20. This is the number 67. We have Mars. And we have the 6 of Swords with the number 55. And 5s can be about conflict. It can be about balance being broken. So I think that's very fitting overall for the energy of this connection. It seems like fighting, 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 and not necessarily always like loudly. It can also be intuitively. Fighting an inner knowing, an inner understanding that you had around this situation, or an inner knowing that you had fighting to be heard, fighting to be seen. There seems to have been a lot of frustrations and potentially resentment as well coming out of this connection. I think this is someone that you have cared about deeply, very deeply, and this is a connection that has influenced you very deeply as well. You seem like you're kind of in an in-between place of not knowing whether to let this go or wanting to let it go, but also not really wanting to let it go and wanting to give it another chance. I think there is a lot of confusion overall, and trying to be intuitive about it, trying to be intentional with it, intentional with what you do, where you go, what step you take next. I think there's a lot of awareness on your end around this person's energy, and a lot of vigilance towards like how you may be perceived or whether you are perceived. This may be someone you have blocked, or this person may have blocked you. I think there is the question of, do they have their eyes on you, or do they know you have your eye on them? For some of you, I think this is something that maybe didn't happen recently, but the energy of it feels recent. Like the wound has been reopened, or it's become relevant for some reason. But for the majority of you, this feels more recent, like a separation of sorts, something you had to leave behind because it was starting to burn you rather than keep you warm. Something you've had to distance yourself from. It's like a whole different world that's contained within itself. This would be someone you likely were in a bit of like a almost fantasy world with. Maybe someone you didn't really have to. It's almost like maybe the connection didn't work if it was in a real life setting. And I'm not entirely sure what to make of that. One interpretation I have is maybe it felt a bit like a fantasy because some of it now in hindsight feels fabricated. That doesn't have to be the objective truth. It doesn't mean the connection wasn't real. I think there is just a bit of doubt coming from your end about like what was real, what was not. Especially if this person has deceived you in some way, or they've been dishonest with you in some way. They've misguided you, misled you. They said one thing, did another. If there was a mismatch in what you thought was true and then what happened, it makes sense that now you're not sure if the rest was accurate or not. And the thing is, this person is coming out as bad. For one, you are the moon and you are literally above this person. So you, I think, have a better understanding of this situation than you might assume. And the thing is, this person is running, has run, likely still is running. And you're just there. You can't really run from the moon. You know, the moon just follows you everywhere you go. When I was a child, when we were driving around, I thought the moon was in particular following me. And I think that's how this person feels right now. And it's not that you are doing something to follow them, because this person is an adult. They know that, I heard like a ha from one of you, or something. I don't know, just like an energetic ha. I feel called to show you this. I don't know why. Maybe this color is significant. It makes me think of honey. Something sticky like honey. Somebody's sticky like honey. Maybe you're sticky like honey for this person. Because you're just there. You're always there. And you see it. The moon sees everything. And the moon reflects. But the bat can't see. It can feel, it can sense, but it can't see. And I think that's the thing with this dynamic. This person is unaware of, one, the effect they have had on you. They are a lot more conscious of the effect you have had on them, that you continue to have on them. But they don't seem to come from a place of possibly imagining they could have an effect on you. Not deep down, regardless of what they may say on the outside. Like, bats have kind of a slightly bad reputation. I feel, at least, like in general. It's not kind of the same connotation as like cats or dogs and such. And I think this person kind of internally embodies that. Kind of alienated feeling, misunderstood feeling. And deep down, I think there is a part of them that enforces this exact feeling, that they feel alienated, that they feel alone, that they feel like they need to pay more attention to what other people think. Because if they do it right, they will be accepted. They will be seen as better than they are, better than they think they are at the very least. Because bats are not just inherently bad or should be alone or anything along those lines. But it's a bit like this person has just grown to be that way. They prefer the dark because that feels more natural and more comfortable to them. That's where they function better. And that can translate to holding back information that they know might not be to their benefit. It's a bit strategic, but mainly it comes from fear. And that's not to excuse any mistreatment of you or any way in which they may have hurt you. But this is someone who isn't very connected with themselves. Bats I also see as intuitive because they sense, right? They don't see, but they sense. But the thing is, what this person senses, it scares them. They don't look at it as a clue. They don't look at it as something to learn from. They don't look at it as something that could be useful. They look at it as, I don't see this, therefore I can't know what it is, because they're not attuned, because they're not playing to their strengths. Instead, they're trying to function how they think they should. Instead of developing their strengths, They're trying to appear how they think they should, how they think everybody else does. Maybe for some of you, they're trying to appear even better than how everybody else does. I don't think this is something that they do so consciously. I think it's just kind of embedded in them. And the reason I think this is coming through in the energy is that this has played a big part in this connection, in how they've approached you. Never entirely fully there. It's like half there, half not. This may be someone you felt like you, in hindsight, didn't know as well as you thought you did, but I think you now know them better than ever. They're very protective of their energy, but it's two levels of them, to kind of simplify it. One level is what is perceived from the outside, or what they assume is like the maximum that's perceived from the outside. That's the layer they modify. That's the layer they show other people. That's how they want to be known and seen. And the other layer is deep inside. They don't want that to be seen. They don't want that to be known. And sometimes if they get triggered, for example, that comes out. The vulnerability, the fear, the anxiety, and they don't want to be seen as that because they already think that they're small. They already think that they're afraid. They already look down on themselves deep down. They feel that lack, and they don't want you to see that, but they know you do with this visions energy. They know you do. You see a lot more than they wanted you to, but what they didn't understand, I think, is that you saw a lot of good in this person too. Maybe you still do. This may have been a dynamic where you thought if you just give them enough understanding, if you just give them enough support, if you just show them that they deserve to be loved, then they would be, then they would see it, then they would understand, then they would act right, then they wouldn't hurt you. And I think you wanted them to see who you are as well. Maybe the idea was that if they saw you and your good intentions, they would understand. And I think it's not that they didn't feel that. I think it's that they didn't know what to do with that information, or what exactly it is that they were seeing. Because one, I think it's unfamiliar. It's not the type of energy they get from everybody all the time. It's not what they're used to. It's an outlier energy, and they don't know what to do with that. And two, they can't see. They feel, but they don't have enough experience with what they feel to exactly know what it is. And I think that was a mismatch here. If you give a lot of love to someone who doesn't really know what to do with it, how to receive it, what will they do with it? And it's not so black or white, of course, but just as like a general energy that I feel is underneath this separation, this distance between the two of you. You could be with this person. I feel for a lot of you this is a like breakup or something that's been severed. I think some of you don't want to hear about this person. If that is the case, that is fine. Pick a different pile, or I'll just say the energies are different in the groups. So but sometimes it's just that even if you don't want to hear about it, you may need to, or The energy still exists and may be more relevant for other people. So don't waste time with something you don't want to hear about if this is not something you want to hear about. But this person sees you, first of all, as intimidating. You are too intuitive for their liking. You are too comfortable with depth, at least from their perspective. It can be scary for you too. It takes a lot of courage to dive deep. And they may just assume that's easy for you. And that's intimidating to them because it's not easy for them. They think you have really strong intuition. Maybe for some of you, you've caught them, or you've like said something outrageous, thinking it was outrageous, and then it turned out to be true. The thing is, because of this intimidation, I think this person had a tendency to interpret your behavior as threatening. It's a bit like they may have been looking for an excuse to run. And I know that can be frustrating and painful, and it might piss you off. It's a bit like, how dare they? And yeah. But this person operates out of fear. And their goal is to survive. And I think there is this belief in them that if somebody sees them too much, they give too much away, they won't survive. That is important information that makes them vulnerable to you, to being hurt by you or by somebody else that may know like what's going on with them, what hurts them, what their weaknesses are. And I think it's just, it seems like it was maybe an exhausting dynamic of you trying to reach closer to this person, but them not really allowing you. And part of them, I think, wanted to be seen because they're seeking relief, and there could be a part of them that knows that connection is good. It's not that they're completely unaware. It's not their first day on Earth. But I think relationship-wise, with depth, they haven't had enough intensity or enough experience overall to have been in a place where they could really properly, authentically, genuinely engage with this connection. I think there's been like strategizing, there's been I'm seeing the words like cold shoulder. So this person could have just turned cold. It's a bit like sabotaging energy as well, slightly knowingly, but not entirely on purpose. I think there's a lot of mismatch in this person's energy. They're not very consistent in their energy. They're very easily triggered. Things can easily set them off and make them retreat. And things can easily anger them and make them like panic and kind of run around. Maybe run towards you as well. So I think it's been very confusing with this person overall. And it is not that this person did not care for you. I don't think it's that they don't care for you. I think it's like at capacity. It's how they function. It's like at the highest capability they have, at the highest function they have cared for you. But that doesn't mean it needs to have been enough for you. And I feel like it wasn't. And that can be a very painful awareness to have. I think you do have that awareness, but you're allowed to be angry at it. You're allowed to be upset about it. You don't have to take it gracefully if you don't want to, or if you can't. But the thing with this situation is I think part of you still empathizes, maybe not even empathizes, but I think part of you understands, because that's what you naturally do. You reflect people, you reflect them back to them, and while you do that, you see what you're reflecting back to them. You see what they're seeing, even if they can't see. You see what they're meant to see, so to say. Because you can see, they can't. And that's the mismatch, that's the thing. And I think with the Six of Swords energy, if there is no like breakup or separation here, there is at least emotional distance. There is at least some kind of boundary. And the Six of Swords, traditionally, it's like on the surface, right? Like you're moving on the surface, you're not diving deep, and you're moving forward on the surface. So I think there are things that are unsaid, unexplained, unresolved. A page you can't stop reading because you see the page, you see the words, and you read between the lines. And there's always more to read between the lines. Can always make it go deeper and deeper and deeper, and maybe at times you also get caught in the narrative of that, the narratives that could be between the lines. So I think there is a story that happened, but then also the details you may add to it, or you may assume about this situation. It may be things like this person never cared about you. It may be things like this wasn't real. It may be things like this was in your head. It may be things like from the start they wanted to play with you. And it's not so black or white, and maybe looking at it from that perspective also helps ease some guilt or pain you may feel about the energy that you have invested in this connection, because you may think, if it was going to end up this way, why was I investing in this connection? If they were going to leave, why was I investing in this? If it wasn't going to work out, why was I investing in this? Why did I open up to them if they were going to act this way? And that's very understandable. But the version of you that invested in this connection did not have the information you have now. And you could not have predicted that. Even if you did, it wouldn't have been a 100% for sure kind of prediction. So it's not on you. And we can't live trying to predict what's going to happen and then just try to predict and predict and predict and live in the future. Then we miss the present. And that changes the future anyway. So I think it's that this person was investing as much as they could, but then after a certain point, they just couldn't anymore. It was too triggering for them. They don't want to, at the time, at least, I think, in the past of this connection, at the very least, they didn't really want to heal because they didn't think that they needed to. If they don't see where they're hurting, not really, why would they want to heal? What would they heal? So it's a bit like not seeing their own wounds. And I think this person does have a bit like a big rejection and abandonment wound. It's a bit like people leave, people don't want me, so I always have to be aware of that. And I'm getting a bit like a love bombing kind of energy from this as well. It could be that they went all in and then suddenly all out, or suddenly they had doubts. Suddenly they were saying they don't know anymore. They don't know if this is right. They don't know if they're interested. Or whatever way that energy may have manifested. It's a bit like in and out, here and then there. And I think for some time you may have engaged with that, but right now it feels like you're not. I feel like the boundaries are clear and they're being upheld currently. There is certainly a sense of like you watching over this person. It could be on social media, or it could just be via tarot or meditation or through like mutual friends. But your energies, they feel very like self-focused. Both figures here are like self-focused as in self-contained. Maybe focused is not the right word here, but very self-contained. You're looking at your own path. This person is focused on where they're going. They're not focused on where they were. But the thing is, where they're going is in circles. So that's the thing. And where you're going is, I think, a bit undetermined. So you may be in a place where you know your worth. Look at this diamond. I don't know if that's meant to be a diamond, but to me that's a diamond right here. A diamond that's appearing through the knowledge that you have been cultivating. So you may not know exactly what direction you're headed in, but you're the moon. So it's not that you have to choose one particular path and just focus on that and look at nothing else. You are the moon, so naturally you will feel a lot, reflect a lot, be in a lot of places at once. That can feel overwhelming, but it's an energy that you can learn to work with. You may feel like this connection is connected deeply to your spiritual journey. I feel a bit like breathless suddenly. You may feel a lot of anxiety over this connection, a lot of fear, a lot of maybe feeling like you were wrong, a lot of self-doubt. But I think it's also that you've been learning to hear the voice of your own intuition versus irrelevant information or things that come from other people. Feel like an ache at my crown. So I do think there is definitely an element of becoming more in tune with your emotions for you through this connection, but it also feels a bit exhausting. You may feel very overwhelmed, very exhausted thinking about this connection. And also I think it has to do with the aftermath of a separation that feels heavy, that feels confusing, that feels difficult. And part of you may want to like force this person to see, but the moon doesn't force anybody to see anything. Well, it kind of does, but just by being itself. It doesn't chase, it's just there. It's just in its own orbit. It's doing its own thing, and whoever is illuminated by it is illuminated by it. And I think that's what's going on here. And there is this sense of being very attracted to you, very drawn to you, because bats are creatures of the night. And the night is, yeah, well, our night is represented by the moon. It's the celestial, like, focus. I mean, the stars as well, but, you know, the moon is like the kind of big celestial object. So I think there is certainly that affinity. There is that pull towards you and the connection. But this connection is represented by the Knight for this person, which comes with a lot of unknowns, which can come with a lot of danger. So I think that's what's been going on in this connection, this dynamic kind of playing out in this way. And now I want to get into how they currently see you so we can get a bit of a better understanding of maybe your role or how they perceive things now, whatever is most relevant. There will also be an extended, but we'll talk about that at the end. And personal readings are also, for the time being, available. How does this person, what's coming through for group 1? See them now. How does this person... We have the Eight of Swords, which is very fitting because traditionally this will have a figure that has their eyes like closed, like blindfolded. Someone that does not see. And it's not that they can't. It's not that they're not allowed to. It's not that they don't have the opportunity to. It's self-imposed. So that they're not taking action to see. It's a bit of a choice. It's a bit of a mental prison. So I think this person is purposefully avoiding looking at you directly. Almost like they're gonna hurt themselves if they look at you directly. That's a bit ironic because I feel like they also can't see things very clearly, at least not right now with this bad energy coming out. I think they are a bit overwhelmed by their feelings, that even if you would be or are in contact, I would doubt that they're able to have like a very level-headed perception of things. I think it would be whatever perception they have comes from a place of overwhelm right now. And I think that's important to note, that this is a highly volatile, emotional kind of energy. We have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. They see you as someone they've lost. And it creates a feeling of lack. Someone they have definitely lost. There is a clear line, a clear boundary between you and this person, from their perception at least. It's like you have propelled them into a place unknown. Name Anthony could be significant. I mean, I was thinking of Anthony Bourdain. Eight of Wands. Even in silence, you surround them. They do see you as very difficult to shake off, like shake away from their energy. I think they think of you a lot. There is a bit almost like a compulsion kind of energy. So either this is very fresh or your impact on this person is very strong, or both. Six of Cups reversed. A lot of rumination, a lot of like revisiting the past, a lot of stuckness. It's not just nostalgia, it's nostalgia that stings. It's more bitter than it is sweet for this person currently. They see you as very radiant, very, very attractive, very fast moving. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but there's almost a bit of like a quality that they attribute to you as being like, you can easily go from thing to thing. And somehow I get the sense that that's maybe an underestimation of how deeply you can connect with people and how much you care for people. It's not that they're not aware of that. I think it's because they feel burned by this connection that they interpret something that's actually very wonderful as something that can be like written off as like, oh, group one would connect like this with anyone. But actually that's a strength, that you could connect with people so deeply if you chose to, which I don't think it's that you're jumping from person to person all the time. So it's a bit like saying you have lots of options and that you can connect with people on a very deep level, but then putting like a I'm hurt by you twist on it. We have the Knight of Cups reversed, which confirms for me the Eight of Swords energy of like emotional overwhelm, them perceiving you from a place of emotional overwhelm. So it's not going to be their most accurate or level-headed opinions of you, but they see you as someone that's growing, that's evolving, that's moving on. While they're not. They look like they are, but mentally, energetically, they are not. Part of them lives in the past because they're going in circles. And I think they have awareness of that too, because even though bats are blind, they can sense when they're in, like, they're perceiving a similar environment to where they were before. So I think there is awareness of like them seeing you as someone that is leaving them behind, or that has left them behind already. And they're having to almost like re-strategize because whatever they've been doing isn't working, or whatever they did in this connection didn't work. So there is an energy of like, now I understand what didn't work, or now I understand that this doesn't work. So I think there is a bit of a recognition that, like, of that severance, of that separation. I think they're more focused on looking at the ending of the connection rather than at you, because I think looking at you hurts. Spirit, how does this person see group one? We have the Lovers. I imagine this would not be censored, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I don't want to deal with that later on. They see you as someone that they had a very profound connection with. You both chose each other, and they see the beauty of that while also looking at the connection itself as something that was terrifying because of the intensity, because of the responsibility of being someone that now has been chosen. So it's almost like they had to prove themselves. They had to be a certain way. Everything had to be right. Otherwise, it's a bad omen. It's a bad sign. It's all going to go wrong. So I think this person has overall been really in their head. We have the Page of Swords, which I'm going to maybe have to censor as well. Bottom deck is the Sun. Beautiful, radiant, beautiful inside and out, radiant, happy, warm, nurturing, gorgeous, stunning, inside and out. Big energy, lots of intensity. In control. You may not see yourself as in control, but they see you as in control a lot more than they have been. It's almost like the hurt, the pain they associate with you is pain they already were carrying. What you did was just bring light. Whether that's by being the moon or the sun, doesn't really matter. What matters is that you carry a lot of light that you just embody, that you just are. And sometimes people cannot deal with that. Because in the dark, you don't see your wounds. You don't see where you're hurting. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to look at how huge that cut looks, how gruesome it looks. But when it's light, you have to look at it. There's a lot about like not looking, not seeing. So maybe somebody's blocked as well, or you haven't seen each other in a while, or I mean, I think also overall the pattern of not seeing themselves, their behavior, their part in the dynamic. I think this person does have the tendency to put it on the other person a little bit. We have the Dream Angel in reverse. This is the Star in this deck. They see you as someone who gave them no choice. They see this connection as something that had no hope left, so they had to make a very difficult choice. Regardless of who initiated this separation or who did what, they see themselves as having had to make a very difficult choice. But they see you as the person that made them make a very difficult choice. So again, they put you in the seat of responsibility, in the seat of control, because yeah, see, bottom deck is the King of Wands. And I think they see you as this King of Wands. You decided with your energy. Even if you didn't do something, it's like you decided with your energy. And we have the Emperor in reverse, the Dream Protector in reverse. So like they were out of control. And the King of Wands came with the Moon in reverse, I see now. And the Sun is right behind it too. So this, and the Empress as well. Yeah, it's like without doing something, with just being, with just maybe holding up your boundaries, or like just enforcing your boundaries, which is kind of just being, because it's not like making them do something necessarily. It's just saying, this is what I am, this is what I accept, this is what I want, and that's not okay. And if they do something outside of that, then it's almost like they see you as being in control of the consequences of their actions because of your opinion about their actions, which is, yeah, kind of faulty logic. But I can see how that could make sense to someone as well. Eight of Cups. They see you as someone who left them, or who would have left them. So there is definitely a prediction of like things going wrong, maybe even before they actually did. But they see you as very radiant, very attractive, very beautiful, very witty. It's like they have a very high opinion of you, but there is also a bit of resentment in that perception because of their experience of this connection, because they've been hurt by what happened. Page of Cups. There is definitely fondness towards you. Like, they see you as someone they're fond of, but also like someone they belong in a different world. Like, you belong in different worlds from each other. Couldn't say that sentence properly. Like, you belong in different places, different worlds, different rules. How does this person see group? King of Swords reversed. They see you as intimidating. They value your opinion a lot. I think they ruminate about you a lot. They see you as someone very worthy, very valuable. Someone they've lost. Someone that shook their world. What they built so far, the work they put in, it all slipped away. And I think that has a lot to do with perceptions. What they think they knew about relationships or about themselves. Four of Pentacles reversed. And the World reversed. Oh no, the Wheel reversed, it's not the World. For some of you, I think this person sees you as the one that got away. But it was out of their control. That's how they seem to see it. No matter what they could have or would have done, it was out of their control. It had nothing like to do with them. It's like a matter of meant to be or not meant to be. But at the same time, there's a sense of looking at you as a story unfinished. So again, like a lot of mismatch up and down in their perception. The Moon in reverse as well. Sometimes they feel one way and then within moments it's the complete opposite. It's very unstable, it's very inconsistent energy, and maybe you see that about them too. You have the Fool in reverse. It's like an opportunity not taken, opportunity given up, not fought for. That's how they see you. Part of them seems to think they had nothing to do with the ending and it's just how it had to be because that's just life. They see it as a loss, a disappointment, but it's like, it's almost like somebody's praying, you know, like it's out of their hands. But I think that's to protect themselves. They definitely revisit this connection a lot emotionally currently. I think they see you as someone they are deeply connected with, but somebody they deeply lost. Slipped away like the fish. Everything is out of their hands. It's spilling. They see you as someone they miss. Oh, is this gonna get censored? I mean, I would hope not. It's just drawings, literally, but do it like this anyway. This is strength. This is a lot of like perceived beauty, strength, inner power, radiance. They see you as very powerful. Is there anything else that wants to come through, please, Spirit? Very powerful, very magnetic. Unafraid. Seven of Wands reversed, Seven of Swords, Nine of Swords reversed. But so much energy that they had to get away. But then again, bottom deck, Hierophant reversed, there's that energy of it just wasn't meant to be. So it's that I feel like they're maybe in a bit of a place where they don't quite know what to think and what to feel about this. But the core of it seems to be a lot of beauty that they see in you, a lot of patience, soft temperance, a lot of confidence too, a lot of like a lot of inspirational energy that exudes from you. To them, you are inspiring, you are confident, you are in control, even if you may not feel that way about yourself. It's a bit like you get what you want. It is a bit like you are the moon, like giant, so big in energy, affecting everything, everyone. The tides, and they're a bat. So I think there is like an energy of insecurity, seeing themselves as smaller than. And I do think that would have played into the energy of the connection and ways in which they may have sabotaged it or run from it. Hierophant reversed, Seven of Wands reversed. For some of you, they didn't uphold a promise or a rule around the connection or an expectation, and maybe that kind of kick-started the sequence of separation here. And that promise could also just be that they said, like, we're in this together, and then they backed out. They see you as very powerful, but also kind of terrifying because of that. Anything else, please, Spirit? Is there anything else that wants to come through? Okay, I think this is where we take it to the extended. If you're meeting me there, I will see you in a little bit. If not, that is perfectly fine. And in the extended, we're looking at, well, first we're getting tons of channeled messages from this person, and looking at what they would say to you, if they could say anything at all. Oh, and then we will look at their intentions. Then we'll look at how aware they are of their intentions, like how determined they are. Then we'll look at their next action towards you, and we will finish off with a message from your higher self / spirit / universe about this connection, or just in general for you, whatever needs to come through. Like I said, personal readings are available for the time being. Forgot to say this in the other group I filmed, so just making a point to say it now. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope this reading was helpful. I am sending you tons of love. Take care, and bye. Hello, my beautiful group 2s, and welcome to your reading. Today we're looking at how the person on your mind sees you, and we'll start with a big energy check so that you can decide if this is your group, if this makes sense to you, or if you want to try a different group or none at all, which is all perfectly fine. There will also be an extended, and personal readings are also available, just to get all of that out of the way. But the extended we're going to talk about at the end of this reading. So let's see what we have for you. This is the last group I am filming, and it's been very interesting so far. So I'm curious to see what happens with this one. Okay. So starting off, we have the lonely journey of the priestess. This makes me think of a rabbit as well, or a hare. Could be relevant. We have the cave. This card I pulled to represent your energy in the connection as it is showing up. And this card I pulled to represent the person that is coming through, mainly from their own perspective. And this is meant to be because it's the energy check, it's meant to be more objectively your energy. But of course, there may be some overlap. We have heal the past and fix tomorrow, which is the number 8. This also adds up to an 8. So the number 8 could be significant. Scorpio energy could be significant. The Champion of Cups. This is the Knight of Cups. And we have Virgo as well. This is quite interesting because I think there is a lot of lore to you. Not necessarily to this connection for all of you, but I think there are going to be several different ways in which this energy may physically manifest. But essentially, I think this is not, for a lot of you, I think this is not someone that you are with. Or if you are with them, this doesn't feel like a solid, stable commitment. It feels like something that is unfolding. It feels like something that has not been lived out. It feels like you perceive yourself as isolated from this in some way, independent of this in some way. That doesn't mean you have never connected with this person. It doesn't mean there is no connection at all. But you are coming out very in your own energy. But I also get the sense that's a double-sided energy where there is some sense of like, I want to keep my peace. I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing what I want to do, what I need to do. I'm living my life. But there is also a bit of fear. There is some anxiety associated with this connection. Anxiety related to maybe not having answers, not having the right answers, not having perceived this in the right way. I'm getting more of like a developing connection or something that like never grounded itself kind of connection. It could be a crush as well. It's someone that seems to have inspired you, maybe at a time where you may have been kind of bored. You may have been even like bored with dating, bored with being open to connections. It may have come at a time after you've been hurt or you've felt neglected, forgotten about. It feels like this person appeared or caught your attention if they were in your like vicinity before. It seems like they caught your attention after a time of kind of stale energy or feeling like things weren't going anywhere. Not with this person. I think it's unrelated to them. I think on your own path, maybe in terms of your love life, maybe in terms of other things as well. It just feels like very stale, bored, kind of energy. And that may have made you shut yourself away in some sense, or move from like at least a slight tinge of boredom and or resentment towards what has been so far. Some underlying like undercurrent energy, very subtle, but it's there. And maybe there was a time the past felt very overwhelming to you, and maybe at times it still does, in the sense that you don't want to repeat it. You don't want it to determine the future. And you are worried that it might. That's what it feels like to me. Like there is a lot of rumination around this connection, but not a lot is happening. At least not enough to give you a grounded sense of stability or understanding. I could see this being someone like in your day-to-day with this Virgo energy. That's the Hermit. So it could be like even a mentor of some kind, or someone you study with, someone you have studied with, someone you work with, have worked with, worked for, someone you look up to in some sense. There is definitely a sense of admiration. This person has brought some sense of inspiration, whether that is through like some skill they have or some experience you know they have had, and how they have worked through that experience. They could be a doctor as well, or some kind of like healing person. Doesn't have to be a medical doctor. Could also be healing through wisdom. Or it could just be someone that you perceive as such. Someone that like has wisdom. Someone that is independent. Someone that is clever. Someone that's interesting, intriguing. Someone that's worth giving it a shot with. They definitely seem to stand out for you, but at the same time, there is in your energy the sense of worrying you may not stand out in the same way, or that it might be in your head, or it may not be reciprocated. So I get more of a sense that even if this is a situation where feelings have been spoken about, you may not believe what they said, or it may have not felt fulfilling or enough or comforting, or there's just something lacking, something that's not enough, something that doesn't feel enough. And this person, they come across as someone who's a bit more stoic, a bit more reserved, a bit more self-contained, independent. At least that's how they appear on the outside, regardless of what's going on within. With this Knight of Cups energy, for some of you, this almost feels a bit like you're wondering if you're just fantasizing. You're assigning more meaning to it than there actually is. I think that's what you're wondering. And you may like fantasize about this, daydream about this, about being with this person. But it doesn't feel like there have been a lot of solid steps together. It feels very individual, these energies. If this is an ex for you, which it could be, kind of just depends how you place the energy. To me, it feels very not lived out, but I mean, ex as in someone that maybe you almost had a thing with, but then didn't, or it almost worked out, but it didn't. There is an almost quality to this energy. It's almost happening, or it almost happened, regardless of the exact mechanics and the exact timing of it. The almost aspect of it feels very significant. There's something there's like longing, there is craving, there is intrigue, there is curiosity, there is inspiration, there is romance, but it's all intertwined with like fantasy as well. And I kind of interpret this as being you not really knowing what part of it is real, what part of it is not. And if this is someone new that you've been getting to know, you may be wondering if this person really is who they appear to be, or if it's just going to fall through, or if it's just the excitement and that's going to wear off, or something just doesn't feel like it's falling into place. It feels like there are boundaries between the two of you. Maybe this is like a workplace boundary. You can't date. Or it's cultural differences, or they live somewhere completely different. They live at the mountains and you live at the sea. It just feels like there is like, mountains seem significant for some reason. So that could be relevant for some of you. Like climbing could be significant, or somebody lives like really high. But also metaphorically, it feels like there are mountains that are perceived that you'll need to climb. And I'm not saying that as like an objective thing. It just feels like the perception is that there are mountains to climb, obstacles to overcome. There's an energy of being bound, but also an energy of being able to transform that energy into a path instead. Take the obstacles and turn them into opportunities. Or take the obstacles and make them not obstacles anymore. And that can be through releasing certain beliefs. It can be by ending a contract, ending a relationship, standing up to someone. Regardless of the exact situation, this feels rule-bound. Either rules like that exist within your mind, or rules that could technically be bent or broken, but nobody has really dared to do that yet, or so far. This is quite interesting because I don't really feel called to call it one thing or another. It does feel like there is longing, yearning, but I'm perceiving this more from your angle. This person is very, they feel far away energetically, either because they don't want, like, they're not someone that gives much away. They can be someone very private, very self-preserved in that sense, like their real self, they really keep in there. There's someone that's deeply caring, but that may appear sometimes like an assumption almost, because it's not like they wear their heart on their sleeve. Not with everyone anyway. For some of you, this feels like a friend, or something that started off as like a friend, someone that you assumed would be a friend. But now it's at like that gateway of almost something else. And maybe for some of you, it's been this way for a long time. It's been at that point for a long time. It doesn't necessarily feel very new, as in timing. It certainly could be. But that's not the highlight of this energy. It doesn't feel necessarily very sudden. It doesn't feel like lightning. It feels like a slow sunrise. There is definitely a lot of mental energy. Like, this is someone you're going to be thinking a lot about. Like, going to be as in you probably have been thinking a lot about. Somebody that maybe you can't seem to get out of your head. And maybe it's even kind of inconvenient because of all of these rules or boundaries that may exist in this situation. Or you were just in the middle of healing something. You were just in the middle of focusing on yourself. And now this person's here. And there's a sense of urgency here as well. But also feeling stuck because there is no vision of where exactly this would go, if it would go anywhere, if it is mutual, if it is truly mutual, if it is something that can ground itself, if you should invest in this. I think there are a lot of questions, and looking at it from this person's perspective, I don't feel like they have a really good understanding of you. They feel very far away from you. It feels like they see very little select parts of you. And I don't know if that's by choice or if that has to do with their inability to see more, or if that has to do with what you are willing to show this person. Maybe out of a fear of being discovered or found out. Because I feel like you are careful with affection towards this person. It feels like it's very calculated. It's coming from a place of, I still need to look out for myself. It's not like, come stare at my soul. At least not yet. Not now. Maybe at some point. But there's a lot of hesitation, a lot of not doing, a lot of thinking, a lot of thinking, a lot of thinking, maybe more thinking than feeling, trying to understand. I want to pull a couple more clarifiers so that I can understand this a bit better. And this is not your tarot deck. It's just a kind of supporting deck. I saw 1717, which adds up to 8. So the piano could be significant. We also have 11 here with the 47. The name Nick could be significant, or Nicholas, well, Nicole, any variation of any of those. The 7 of Swords, yeah, which adds up to an 11 again, 5 and 6. You feel very drawn to this person. It feels fated in some ways, but it also, I heard the word bogus. So there may be a fear of like, is this in my head? Am I just looking for signs because I want signs? So I'm looking for signs to have something. Yeah, the Page of Cups. And the Hierophant as well. It's like, am I making an elephant out of this when it's actually not an elephant at all? There's a lot of doubt. Well, good that we're going to look at how they see you, because that seems very appropriate here. Anything else that is relevant for the context, Spirit? And it's also, I'm noticing for your group in particular, the cards are very, 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 very slow. Like noticeably very slow. And maybe that's because there is no context, but also while I was shuffling your oracles, it took a very long time. The Ten of Cups. Seeing a lot of 4s and 5s, and 6 of Wands, and 7 of Wands. It's almost like there is a fear of it being too good, because too good might mean it's too good to be true. We have 2 9s, 4 5, and 2 7. Which is a tendency to maintain independence. And that can create a bit of like a stuckness, especially if it comes from a place of fear and uncertainty rather than true fulfillment. And maybe that's causing some of this unknown hesitation energy, because there's been a lot of thinking but not much happening physically or like tangibly. It seems very energetically compelling, but with not much solid proof to show for it. So let's get into the tarot now and see how this person actually sees you. 2, please, Spirit. Page of Swords in reverse. 7 of Pentacles in reverse. 2 of Cups. For some of you, this person doesn't think you're single. 10 of Wands. That won't be the case for every single one of you, but as a side note, this person doesn't think you're available for some of you. They don't see you as someone that's available. That could be because you aren't with somebody else, or you were with somebody else, or you don't appear interested. Or it could just be that they don't see you as emotionally available either, because we also have the Emperor for how they see you, which is very like rule bound in some ways, or it's like a bit of like an untouchable kind of energy. They do see you as untouchable. I don't know if there's like distance, or they just know they can't have you. They have certainty they can't have you for some reason. Yeah, 8 of Cups, like you're distanced, you're far away. But they also see you as someone they're very drawn to, very connected to, but somebody they can't have. This person is also really in their head. And I don't think all of their thoughts and all of their feelings are necessarily a fully accurate picture of this situation. The Page of Wands in reverse. There is curiosity with the pages, but they're both reversed, so it's blocked. There is some sense of feeling inspired by you, but it's like they see you as someone they can't get excited about. They can't be excited about this, even though they kind of feel compelled, and they do feel some excitement, but it's like you can't be hopeful, you can't be excited, you can't get ahead of yourself. It's like they're not allowing themselves this. They see you as someone they can't allow themselves to have, to pursue. King of Cups reversed. Six of Pentacles. Very interesting. And 10 of Cups is the bottom deck energy. They see you as someone they could potentially have a very mutual, reciprocated, fulfilling connection with. Maybe that's because some of you already have some form of like established communication or established understanding of each other, but it doesn't feel like it runs very deep, this established understanding or this connection. Maybe for some of you there was a point where it was, but some of you met on a dating app. And maybe that's where this understanding of potential comes from, or this like idea of potential comes from. And some of you are friends, and that's where that comes from. So I can see how this energy fits into this overall picture, but there is also this strong sense of this person holding back, because that's how they see it, or like they are under the impression that you are something to hold back from. Even if they may interact with you or tell you things, or there's just a sense of holding back, not rushing, taking time. To them, also, they see you as a bit impatient. Maybe you've been more, maybe you've given more away than they would have expected. We have the 9 of Cups. The intensity is a lot for this person, but they also kind of really like it. They see you as intense, like in your energy, magnetic. They feel drawn to that. They feel attracted to that. There is kind of a mysterious beauty to it, to the not knowing part as well. We have the Three of Cups. They see you as part of their social circle for a lot of you, but unattainable, or it's somebody else's. There's like a possessiveness here. Like, have you, somebody else's. Which I'm not quite sure how to place that, but there is a possessiveness here towards you and perceived around you. And maybe that's because you possess yourself. I could also interpret it that way. Like, you come across very independent to this person. And that's maybe a bit intimidating too. Five of Pentacles reversed. Yeah, they definitely see you as someone highly attractive, highly capable, intriguing, intelligent, somebody here could be in a relationship with somebody else, but that would be like a known fact if that is the case. I don't think there is secrecy in that sense here. It's known, it's acknowledged if that's the case. And they see you as someone who doesn't really give much away, but they're inherently very drawn to you, even though you don't give that much away. And maybe that's part of the charm as well. They don't know that much, and that makes them want to know more. Because there's so much room to fill, so many possibilities that it could be. You've caught their attention. That is for sure. But there is this sudden block that keeps it all in place, that keeps it in the same container, and it cannot come out of there. This is separate from real life almost. So that's why I feel like it hasn't maybe come to fruition, or it's something that hasn't been grounded. So it feels like it can also kind of exist in a bit of a fantasy world. It could be anything because it's not bound by reality yet. The Six of Swords, yeah. The sense of mental separation from their life, their like day to day. So you could be texting a lot, but not like seeing each other in person. And maybe that's why it feels so ungrounded, like it's kind of up in the air and like it's not entirely figured out yet. How does this person see group? Again, the Six of Swords. They don't know that much. Like, bottom deck is the Hermit. Virgo energy is coming out again. They only know as much as they can perceive and as much as they can fill in the gaps. But they don't have enough information to have a full image of you because of also mental boundaries they've placed on themselves. It's a bit like they're looking away on purpose. They're not looking at you too hard because even that might be too intense, too much. Even that may lead to a chain reaction. It feels kind of like there is a lot of hesitation because it can explode. And nobody wants it to explode. Justice. Rules. There are rules, there are boundaries, and if there weren't, they see that there would be an opportunity. If there were no boundaries, there would be an opportunity, but the opportunity is behind the boundaries. But if it was different, if the reality was that there was no boundary, it would be different. But I think this is something they think about a lot. Like, they see you as someone they kind of ruminate about. They go in circles about. They go towards and then back. Something feels like it runs deeper than it logically should. It's almost like a desire they feed in secret. Thoughts they feed in secret. A fantasy they feed in secret. They're definitely feeding more like more thoughts into it, but they also know that's kind of like sabotage, because there's a realization of, I allow myself to hope, I allow myself to be disappointed kind of energy. And I think this again has to do with, for a lot of you, either a fear of rejection or like some kind of catastrophe, like something horrible happening. Horrible as in like emotionally. Blowing everything up. Because it feels very high stakes. They see you as a high stakes person, a high stakes situation, that they would be very disappointed to mess up. And maybe that's what they tell themselves to protect themselves in some sense. I think this person, generally they feel more comfortable in surface level connections, and also in this situation keeping more of a surface level connection. But that's not because of a lack of interest. I think that's more because of a lack of understanding and because of a lack of certainty and not wanting to break the rules. Maybe the rules they impose on themselves or somebody else does, but the rules are coming out a lot. The rules are important to their perception of you and what they allow themselves to perceive you as. Is there anything else that wants to come through, Spirit, about how this person sees group 2? There is a lot of meaning they assign to their attraction to you. It's not something they perceive as meaningless, but they don't know the meaning of it. It's something they don't want to label, even though they've kind of put it in a box. Feels like this is something that only exists in that bubble, in that container. Ten of Pentacles, Seven of Swords reversed. It would take their world to change, to pursue this. A whole new beginning would be required. They would need to leave something behind. The Ten of Swords is sticking out. They would need to leave something behind to have an honest start here. And for some of you, maybe that's just the baggage. But I saw the Ace of Pentacles and the Six of Cups reversed. So could be old patterns, old beliefs, old ways of behaving. But for some of you, there are other commitments or other like stakes, family, rules, an established structure. Is there anything else, Spirit, before we take it to the extended? Okay. Well, then on this note, this is where we will leave the main reading. In the extended, we will get tons of channeled messages from this person for you and see what they would say, if they could say anything at all, if they could be very honest. Then we'll look at their intentions. Then we'll look at how conscious they are of their intentions, and how kind of aware they are of where they want to go with this, if they want to go somewhere with it. Then we're going to take a look at their next actions towards you. And then we're going to get some advice or just some extra information for you that we may have not talked about around this connection or around something else. Anything that may be relevant or needs to come through, that's what we'll be looking at. And personal readings are available. I don't know if I said that anymore. But they're available for the time being. You can book with me down below, and the links for the extended are also down below. If you're meeting me at the extended, I will see you in a little bit. If not, I hope this reading was helpful. I am sending you tons of love. Take care and bye. Hello, my beautiful group threes, and welcome to your reading. I'm filming your group first because I am very excited to use this deck, which probably nobody else is excited to see, but never had one of these. I just cut the deck. Never had one of these. My mom had one when I was very, very young, in this woven basket that we had for interesting endings and beginning. Endings and beginnings. Huh. Okay. Don't be scared of the... I keep cutting at the same place. Don't be scared of the Ten of Swords. We're gonna talk about it. I mean, if you're here, you probably already know what's been going on. It makes me think of cycles more than anything else, because now I'm seeing a bicycle. Like the wheel is turning. I cut the deck and okay. I'm gonna stop playing with this deck. I'm just excited to use it because I saw this deck before I even know what the tarot was, and I tried to like come up with games to play with it. So now I know what to use it for, and I have lots of tarot decks, but I've always wanted one of these. I don't know why I just didn't get one. But I'm happy that it's here. It feels like new beginnings energy for me, like back to the basics, starting over again kind of energy. And because that is the energy that I kind of associate with this deck, it makes sense that this group is maybe also going to resonate with that kind of energy, starting over. Not from scratch necessarily, because there is certainly some wisdom that you've learned through this connection. There is certainly like background it's not that this connection was completely severed and then it's being recreated. It's that it's a new page in the same book. So this is going to be someone that you have history with for a lot of you. Maybe certain endings and beginnings, some cycles, patterns that were repeating over and over again. It feels like the energy was very heavy. And now I feel the weight of that. It's slowing down. And likely this is going to be a situation where you may have had breaks in communication, in seeing each other. You may have like had a breakup, on and off kind of energy. Something blown out and then reignited. Cut the deck again. Okay, let's look at your cards. There is certainly a lot of energy here, so I am excited to dive into this. We have the Raven. I pull this card to represent your energy in this connection as it comes through, not necessarily as how this person sees you. But if they have some common sense, it's probably going to have some common ground. We have the bee, and this represents how they see themselves. We have the 5th house. Oh yeah, of course you have lots of energy. You have 3 of the Celestial Bodies Oracle deck cards. Neither of the other groups had this much, and I don't love it when too many cards come out, but it felt right. So, and we have your soul will find those you are meant to experience life with. I'm not quite sure how I want to order these actually. Maybe like this. We have 33 and you are group 3, so that's 3, 3, 3. I'm also noticing we have 27 here. That's 9 times 3, and 9 is 3 times 3, so another 3, 3, 3. We have Healing Through Rest. This came out in reverse at 64. Unrelated to 3. I mean, I could push it and find a way, but and we have Solar Eclipse, which is very relevant if, and we are in Leo season. If you're watching this at the time I'm filming this, that's what's been going on. So I don't like the look of this, and we're gonna do a little bit of a, okay, this is fine. So you are very intuitive, and you already know some of the things, maybe all of the things that I'm going to tell you, but sometimes we need confirmation, and that's fine. I think you feel very drawn and in some ways attached to this person. And I'm singling out the word attached because I think some of you may feel some frustration over your attachment to this person. I think this is someone you have tried to let go of before. Maybe some of the endings before were, I'm hearing, executed by you. So there is definitely some sense of this person feeling like you have broken their heart too, I'm hearing. So I think this person has also broken your heart. But it is someone you've inherently chosen to still connect with. And it may not feel like a choice. You may feel like you are obligated. And if that is where you're coming from, know that you are not obligated to choose this connection. Because I think the energy kind of splits into 2 here, where some of you may feel more so like incredibly frustrated with the connection, with the situation. And you may be thinking, why am I here? And why this person? And maybe that's going to entirely depend on where exactly you are at your understanding of this connection. So I don't want to get too much into what you may be feeling or thinking about this, I think there are a lot of thoughts and feelings that come and go. Like one moment you may think, I've had enough, like I can't do this, I don't understand this. And the next you may feel very drawn to this person again. You may feel like you want to fix it again. You may feel like you want to talk to them again. You may feel like you want to check in on them again. So for a lot of you, I think this is something that has been going on for a while. And there were times where you thought it was really over, that you've hit the limit with this connection, that there can't be more, that all the signs are there. But I think it's also important to consider the amount of fog that came with this much eventual rain. Rain representing emotions. And intuition as well. There is a lot of energy that runs between the two of you, and you are picking up on that. They are too, in their own way. I heard you are their queen bee, because they're working. It's kind of cheesy, but because they are working for your kingdom. And the reason I think it's coming through in that sense is because this person is someone who sees themselves as trying to prove themselves to you. They want to prove to you that they can get it right because they know they have gotten it wrong before. They stung and that killed them. And then somehow they got another chance, and then another chance, and then another chance. And they've died enough times now to kind of be reborn as this more awakened version of themselves. But that version has not yet synchronized with their body. The changes are still happening. They may also feel physically sick, like suddenly out of the blue. They may feel nauseous, they may feel dizzy, they may get headaches, they may feel super emotional, even if they wouldn't really have episodes like this. Or I don't know, it just feels like this person is sifting through a lot of energy right now. And your energy is influencing them too. I think their energy is also influencing you. And sometimes when you go into these foggy, cloudy moods, it comes a bit from this person's energy as well, especially their mind. They have a very active mind and they try to escape and focus on the mundane, on like the simple things, on their day-to-day, on their routine. And that maybe often left you dealing with a lot of this energy yourself because you haven't really had the opportunity to choose if you perceive all this energy or not, if you feel all of this energy or not. And they were able to shut it off or pretend that they shut it off because they are maybe less sensitive. That's maybe not the best way to put it, but less receptive, less sensitive, less receptive. Like their hearing is worse, let's say. They can't hear as well as you, so you hear more frequencies. You're going to be bothered more by the noise than they will be because they literally don't hear it. That doesn't mean it's not there. That doesn't mean all of this underlying energy wasn't always there. But I think there was a time this person didn't necessarily pick it up as much as you can. And they feel like they need a break, not necessarily from you. They need a break from everything. This person feels like they're working really hard on their life, on making their life happen, but I think they're working hardest in their mind. And that makes a difference because they feel like they're not progressing, they're just spiraling in the same spot. And maybe they spiral deeper into their mind. And that feels like they're going somewhere. That feels like they're putting out a lot of energy, so it must be going somewhere, right? But they're just going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think the deeper they go, the less familiar it is, and the scarier it gets, and the more emotions come out. This person sees you as very intriguing, very mysterious, even if you have literally been as vulnerable as you've known yourself with this person. It's that they can't always hear. They don't always hear. Some frequencies that come from you, they just don't hear it. They don't understand. Or they don't speak that language and they don't get it. Even if you try with a million words to explain it to them, they haven't understood. And maybe that in some ways has made you feel like you're losing your mind. At times, this person has definitely also felt like they're losing their mind in this connection because it feels complicated, because it's deeper. And there are less things that they know, and that brings fear, that brings anxiety, that brings the unknown into the picture. And what does that look like? They don't know. And that's scary. It's a lot for this person. And I think they would see themselves as like a simple person, a person that just wants simple pleasures in life. They are just minding their business. They just want the usual things, the things that they should have, like stability and a family, and it doesn't have to be like exactly that or the most traditional way of going about your life. But I think this is someone who likes to go on a walk, or they like to get some fresh air, they like to go have a drink and just like sit. They don't need to do crazy things to feel fulfilled. And I think spiritually, energetically, you've been making this person do, quote, crazy, close quote, things. Because they feel very drawn to you no matter what happens. And there is likely some component of that where you really trigger each other and it makes it very difficult to snap out of that energy. But both of you have been trying. Both of you have been waking up more. Some of you may be out of contact with this person currently. It doesn't have to be that way because the energy feels so connected. I don't necessarily see this as being a connection where there is like absolutely no contact, no connection whatsoever. Some of you may have been manifesting this person, or there may have been a point where you manifested something with this person, like on purpose. Maybe you did a ritual, maybe you wrote it down. But you have called this person back into your life, whether you realize that or not. And that's not to confuse you or make you feel guilty or anything along those lines. You have free will. Maybe it's more so a reminder of that than not. And again, this is not to like blame you if you have certain views about what went down here, or like about whether you want this person in your life or not. I think for the majority of you, you want this person, you want it to work. It's just that it has been very difficult. And sometimes you wonder why. why there is so much work to do, why it can't just be, I heard perfect, but I don't think you're even aiming for perfect. I think you're very patient. I think you're very understanding. I don't think your expectations were that this connection has to be perfect. It was just that it needs to work and that this person needs to work. And from their perspective, I think they have been working. But I think it took them a long time to realize maybe they were working towards, like they were working on the surface, ignoring all of the depth. And it's kind of like if you're sick, for example, you treat the symptoms but not the cause. Like, very easy example, you have the flu and you have a headache and you take a painkiller. That doesn't make the flu go away. And I think this person is in a place where they see that. And that is the energy check portion of this reading, which, yeah, lots of energy. This image also makes me think of like depth, and it makes me think of lemons. This imagery, this also kind of looks like two lemon slices, even though it's the moon. We have a lot of crescent moons around as well. The sun and the moon, sometimes you fit so well and sometimes you wonder how this could work at all, but a part of you knows it can because it has. I think there is a lot of fondness here, but this person is not someone who knows how to show that very well. I'm thinking of how, like, you know, sometimes bees fly onto you and the instinct is to be like, oh, no, like kind of swat them away or like, ah. And sometimes I think this person feels like that's what you do. And they just want to come to you because you're a flower. They're not going to sting you, but then when you swat them away, they're like, oh, I'm in danger, and they sting. Or you're just walking and they're flying next to you and they get scared because you moved your leg and then they sting, even though you had no bad intentions and you were just walking and minding your own business and being yourself. So I think there is a lot of reciprocated triggering in this connection. And that's not to blame either person. But that's also not to take responsibility off of either person. Because it's a dynamic. And I do think you have been trying your very best to figure out all of the signs and the omens that relate to this connection, but I think at times you can overdo it a little bit. Lovingly, I say this, and I get it, but I think sometimes this person, I think both of you sometimes forget to live because you're thinking, you're trying to figure it out, you're trying to get ahead of it. And this person sees that about you. They know you are not just with them. They know you haven't just been, like, even when you're physically with them, they've seen how your mind goes to somewhere completely different. I think you've both seen each other at maybe what you would call your worst. And that's not necessarily an objective qualification, but this person may have seen you at what you perceive as your most vulnerable, most triggered, most scared. And I think you've seen them like that too. And maybe at times it's been difficult to not judge each other for that, because you are essentially, I think, spiritually similar, but very different in the way that that has manifested. This person comes across more skeptical because all of this makes them feel small, but you feel like you are part of it. The collective, the energy that exists, and this person feels a bit like an outsider. So it's very possible from their childhood, they already felt a bit like they didn't quite fit in. And I think maybe you did too, but in a different way. Like, you've learned that that's fine, and they did too in their own way, but not... It's like they don't embody it quite like you. You may see different as just different, and this person sees different as like... something to fight. And not because they want everybody to be the same. I'm kind of going off track now, but I think this person judges themselves really harshly deep down because growing up they were criticized, even if it was by like just a look. So they are very sensitive to certain things and a bit like hyper vigilant. And some of you may feel this resonates with you in some ways as well. But I think essentially that hypervigilance manifests in different contexts and different ways. Essentially, both people here are very sensitive souls. You just have different ways of going about it. And I'm not going to try to explain this anymore, because I think if this is your connection, which I hope it is if you've listened this much, but if not, that's also fine. I mean, it's just, I think you will understand what I mean if you've experienced this with this person. You know they're sensitive, even if sometimes they come across like they don't have a care in the world. They just feel small and very easily squishable. And I think there is also this energy to this person where if they sting, they always see it as self-defense. So if they've hurt you, they may see it as self-defense. And you may think, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't do anything. But then they're like, what if you squished me? So it's a bit like avoidant. This person feels avoidant to me, and that may really frustrate you. I think sometimes that has made you shut down as well and pull back into yourself. A bit of a like runner-chaser dynamic that I think has gotten better over time. So if you are, for example, in no contact with this person, maybe you're still checking in on them, but I think energetically you have built space for yourself to check in on them without being overbearing, to check in on them without chasing them. Energetically, literally. I think you let this person come to you now. Maybe some of you are waiting for them. Maybe you feel something's going to happen. Maybe you're trying to still understand the situation. And if you are in contact with this person, if you are with this person, you certainly could be, because it feels like an ongoing dynamic. If that's the case, I feel like you're giving them space, even if it's not a perfect practice. I think you are giving this person more space. Like, look at this imagery. They have all of this space around them. And that allows them to spiral outwards as well, because they feel like they have the space to spiral outwards. And when they spiral outwards, they're going up and outside of themselves, and they're able to see more. So maybe the next video we do a realizations situation. But now we're gonna get into the tarot. Yeah, half an hour in, we're going into the tarot. Whatever. There will also be an extended, but we'll talk about that later on. Cut the deck, and we have this again. I just split it to shuffle very evenly. So now we're going to look at how they see you. So maybe some of you needed confirmation about this dynamic, that you're not writing a story here, but you're reading what the two of you have written already. Spirit, how does the person coming through for group 3 see group 3? Okay. I heard you have the power. 2 of Pentacles reversed. And I heard it in like the tune of that song. This goes like, I've got the power. Bottom deck is Knight of Cups. I've got the power, but I heard it as you've got the power. So this person sees you as having grown, having expanded your reach, and having expanded your hold over them. Your hold over them has definitely gotten more magnetic. It has gotten stronger. They feel it. It's easier that they get like, they get affected by you a lot faster, a lot easier now. And maybe for some of you that manifests in kind of like an inexplicable way, but how you are doing, what you are doing does have a very strong influence on this person. So they see you as someone that has a very strong hold over them. They see you as someone they've messed up with, someone they have hurt, they've embarrassed themselves to. This person is definitely ashamed of some things that they have done. We have the 3 of Swords in reverse as well. They see you as a very healing presence in their life, but first, it hurts. And it's a bit like going to the doctor and getting like a shot. Like the needle stings a bit. Or let's say surgery. Like you give them, well, they don't feel it. Well, whatever treatment may be a little bit painful. Like you give them the treatment, but the treatment hurts a little bit too. We have Death reversed. The Knight of Cups is sticking out again. So that for me confirms the connection that is underneath it all. Scorpio energy could be significant, but Death coming out in the reverse, I think also shows and confirms that this person feels like they have experienced like little deaths in this connection or through this connection, and this connection itself has experienced little deaths as well. They see you as someone with secrets. And I think that's because they can't always read your emotions very easily. They've definitely gotten better at that, but what they don't know really scares this person. And that may be something you have in common with each other as well. What you don't know, what you can't see about each other. And right as I said that I cut the deck, I'll show you, but it's still Lovers. I don't know the rules here anymore. I don't know if you can, probably it hasn't gotten better, right? Gemini energy could be significant, but they see you as someone they are connected to on such a deep level, but at the same time, they feel like you don't always see this, or if you see it, you don't accept it coming from them. They see you as someone that has rejected them, so maybe there were certain behaviors you called out, or there was a time where or maybe that time is now where you've walked away from this connection. We have the 9 of Cups reversed. You challenge their coping mechanisms, their behaviors, their beliefs. They see you as a challenging person, and that's a good thing. Being with you is not easy for this person, and it shows something that they have wanted it so bad, that they have tried so bad, and they have died and still come back. At least that's how they see it. You can absolutely have a different perception of it, but they see you as someone that, against all odds, has shown up, has stayed, has given them a lot of grace. They don't see you as someone that's easy to please, or easy to get, maybe. That's a better way to put it. But you have very nurturing energy. They see the gentleness that runs really deep within you. But I feel like shame is coming out really strong here. They feel shame about something they've done, something they've said. They feel like they were out of control, but at the same time, they feel like sometimes you make them that way. They do like control. I saw the Emperor. They like knowing things. They like having it all under control, in a certain routine, in a certain way, having it all figured out, nothing to read between the lines, but it's complicated with you. And I think that also frustrates this person. And I'm not saying they see you as someone that plays games. I don't think they think that. I think there's also a lack of recognition at times about how much grace you've actually given this person on the outside. Even if on the inside you still feel the aftermath of like this dynamic and what has happened here. Can we clarify the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, please, Spirit? How does this person see group 3? How does this person see my group 3s? The 2 of Cups. Bottom deck is the Moon. And the Knight of Cups in reverse as well. They see you as a dreamer, someone very intuitive. Again, the mystery is coming out. Someone that just knows things, someone that just figures things out, and they don't know how you do it. That's very strange to them. I think this person sees you as someone they have a bit of a psychic connection with, and I think this is someone that wouldn't really be like caught saying that ever. Like, they wouldn't say that. But sometimes they see you think the same things at the same time. You say or you've said the same things at the same time. I feel like I'm talking in the present tense a lot, so that is confirmation that this connection prevails. I think sometimes they think you expect a lot from them. That's debatable. Or maybe you do, but it's like you expect what you deserve, you know? And I think this person knows that too. It's just that they have some stubbornness to them. They see you as someone very beautiful, very understanding. Like you are beautiful as a person. I'm hearing you're weird. This is weird. But in like a playful way. You may have had or have a very playful connection with this person as well. I think like you know how to have fun together, but it's a lot more difficult to talk about what's underneath. I think both of you are good at ignoring that on the surface. We have the Four of Cups reversed. They see you as someone who holds them accountable, and you're not just going to accept whatever. You're not just going to, like, you have standards. You have a certain way you expect this to be. You have a certain way you expect to be treated. But you have, at the same time, I think, again, given them a lot of grace, a lot of understanding. But they may still feel like you have very high standards that they cannot reach. Or like, I think the past story of this is that they felt like you have impossible standards, which is not the case objectively, I think. Yeah, past energy and the Hierophant below. So it's a bit like they didn't understand what true connection and true depth actually takes for you to sacrifice, like you being anyone, not you, but connections take sacrifice. That doesn't mean you have to sacrifice yourself and your entire being. It doesn't mean that, but it takes compromise, it takes sacrifice. And I think he has learned a lot from you. They see you as someone really like wise. I switched to he for a second, but that makes me actually, I mean, this is regardless of gender, it's just energy. But the he, for one, the letter H could be significant, but I'm also seeing the word high, like H-I-G-H, high. High school, high priestess, being high. Too High. The song, Too High. Who is that by? Let me look it up. Let me get my phone real quick. Too High. You may want to look up the lyrics. That's what I'm going to look it up. It's by James McCann. It's a really cute song. So if you want to look it up, do it. But actually, thinking of that song, I feel like it does make sense kind of with the energy of this person that is coming through. But I think also that makes me think of like he as in kind of the he role in society, like the provider, the money maker, the protector, you know, all of those kind of traditional attachments, labels that we've attached to him. And again, this is regardless of gender, but I think this person values that and sees you as someone they want to be that for. Your protector. Someone that provides for you. Someone that brings you comfort. Someone that brings you safety. someone that you can relax with. And I think they actually see you as someone that inherently does that for them. And deep down, that might make this person feel a bit small because they think that's their role. And you're filling it instead. Can we clarify the Three of Swords in reverse, please, Spirit? So maybe that's also like tying into that shame energy. We have Temperance coming out. Sagittarius energy could be significant. The Knight of Wands in reverse is showing. Age of Pentacles and Judgment is also sticking out. They have definitely acted impulsively. And you have given them so much understanding. You have given them so much space and opportunity to heal. More than they could ever expect from anyone. And I think this person is a bit ashamed, again, to admit that. Shame seems to be a significant blockage in this connection. They see you as really evolved in some way, like really wise, really a bringer of peace. We have the King of Cups coming out. We also have with it the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed. You are, you are someone that makes them want to be the best version of themselves, emotionally mature, grounded, understanding, forgiving. In some ways, they look up to you. They do see you as a bit like intimidating and like you have very strict boundaries around certain things, especially in terms of your opinions. That doesn't mean they don't see you as open-minded, but I do think they see you as someone who will hold them accountable, if not instantly, eventually. I just saw 4444 as well. So you bring stability, but you also bring a certain set of rules, certain set of judgments, which is not a bad thing. It means you hold this person accountable and there are certain boundaries you don't want broken. And maybe they have broken certain boundaries in the past, and contrary to their belief, you have given them a chance. But they seem to be aware of the fact that it's not endless. They're not getting endless chances. So if they are to use up another chance or like kind of take it or pursue another chance that's given to them, they have to do it right. They can't just mess around. They have to be intuitive about it. They have to look at it at its full depth. And at times they have been too scared. They have acted immaturely. And they find it difficult to look at that version of themselves. Like when they do something that's not great or that's hurtful, they find it difficult to look at it. They find it difficult to accept it. And they know you see it. You see through whatever facade they may put up. They see you as someone who could have called them out more, but sometimes you don't. And even if they have said things like I see this person as someone that may have the potential to be like, oh, I do everything wrong, or, you know, someone that just has difficulty accepting comments that are not entirely positive. And I think that is a part of them that they have been like growing and working on bottom deck is the Knight of Pentacles, and we have the Page of Wands sticking out. So that to me is learning. It's learning on an energetic level that not every comment you make is an attack. So this person sees you as someone who is helping them regulate because you have been learning to regulate your own emotions, your own fears, your own energy. You've been regulating the energy that you give to this person. You've been regulating what you show. And that in turn has affected how this person goes about it. We have the Ace of Cups, which came out right as I was looking at this Temperance and how this water flows between these two cups. We have the Two of Cups, Ace of Cups, and Temperance. This person sees you as very loving, very giving, very caring. Like you care for the world, you hurt with the world. You care for people and things that you don't know. And they have been a lot more disconnected. They have a lot of sensitivity, but they have not cared for everything the way that you have. They have not cared as actively the way that you have. That doesn't mean they're not a caring person. That doesn't mean they're not sensitive. But again, they see you as someone that has expanded how they experience themselves too. There is something very soothing about you to this person, but also things that really challenge them. And they don't know what they're going to get each time. I think there is certainly an energy of still repeating patterns where both of you may have like blind spots or things that you were very defensive about. But they see you as someone whose intention is, in the end, peace, romance, love. But that's difficult to embody sometimes. Like for this person, that understanding, that vision that they have, it's difficult for them to embody because sometimes it just feels dark and like they're fighting ghosts that they can't see. Maybe the past is significantly influencing this connection as well. There is something about this person's inner peace that is very connected to yours and how you are doing and whether you are pleased or not. They may have had a tendency to run because of this, because they are aware of your influence on them. Again, the Seven of Wands. So there is that defensiveness. There is that I need to protect myself because this energy affects me. Group 3 affects me too much, so I need to fight them off. But actually, what affects them so much is, I think that their energy affects you a lot because you're connected. Like, if they hurt you, obviously it affects you, right? Like that makes direct sense. It's human to be affected. It's not like, oh, whatever, I don't care about anything. We're meant to care. I mean, not meant to, but it's, you know, it's human to care. And it feels like they have blamed you for things that were actually on them. You were at times reflecting to them the consequence of how they are or what they did. So they were fighting the wrong thing. They were seeking relief from the wrong thing. It wasn't that they needed relief from you. It wasn't that they needed to release you. It was that they needed to release behaviors that were not aligned with who they want to be, their vision for themselves, their hopes and dreams. So I think this person, I saw the Seven of Swords in reverse as well. I think this person has been coming to terms with that. So again, they see you as someone that has brought them a lot of awareness, a lot of wisdom. Currently, they see you as someone they really care about as well. Very giving, very loving. Someone they're very strongly attached to. But it doesn't feel wrong. We have Justice coming out as well. It doesn't feel wrong. They feel very tied to you. We have the Moon as well. Again, very intuitive connection. But they do see you as someone maybe more recently holds back. So again, maybe less communication between you, less, maybe you haven't seen them in a while, maybe you're on a break, maybe you've broken up with this person. There has been a lot of introspection. There has been a lot of feeling their feelings. It's come out all at once. We have the Ten of Cups coming out again. They see you as someone they could build with, that they could have a future with. But it also in some ways like feels a bit like that's not what's happening now, because we have this Five of Wands beneath it all. Cancer energy could be significant with the Chariot, also with the King of Cups coming out. Cancer season also could have been significant, but it's just for extra confirmation. If you're looking for any, don't like pay too much attention to the signs if they don't match, of course. But with this Five of Wands and the Knight of Cups in reverse, I think the emotions run very high with this connection often. So both of you may lose sight of the future or where you're aiming to go because the present is pulling a lot of your energy, and not just the present, but I think also the past. So there is maybe at times an energy of acting a bit out of alignment with true desires, acting from insecurity. We have the Nine of Wands, the Ten of Wands reversed, and we also have the World. Definitely, there is frustration about repeating cycles. There is exhaustion. This person does feel in some ways exhausted by this connection. Maybe repetitive conversations. They think you're emotionally distant currently. That may be their perception. That may be on purpose on your end. They also, I think, see you as someone who's carrying a lot of baggage. They're not sure how much of it you've released and how much of it you're still holding on to or holding against them. They see you as someone that brings them happiness and in some ways escape. Escape from other parts of their life. They may feel dissatisfied, and bottom deck is the Three of Cups as well. And the Lovers is behind it. And the Eight of Wands. This will not be for everyone, but for some of you, this person may be in a connection that is unhappy, and you may be their escape from that connection. That will not be the case for every single one of you. But I don't know, I just got that could be the case for someone that may have been wondering if this reading could still apply if you are not this person's partner. And yes, it could. Like, it could be an ex, it could be someone that moved on already as well. but energetically, the flow still comes to you. Is there anything else that wants to come through about how this person sees my group, please? The Hanged Man, the Hermit. Yeah. You occupy a big part of this person's private world. Even if they try to escape from this connection or escape from you, that doesn't quite work in the way that they are like completely independent of you. And maybe that comes with some problems as well, but that's not what this reading in particular is for. Sometimes they want to escape from you, sometimes they want to escape to you. And maybe the actual issue is that this person is escaping in general and has a tendency to escape in general. Pisces and Virgo energies could be significant. And with both of these energies being mutable, I also get the sense that this person gets, and King of Wands is bottom deck, they see you as a source of confidence for them as well. How the two of you are doing affects how this person overall sees themselves and is doing. How lucky they feel they are, how powerful they feel they are. This connection very strongly influences that as well. Is there anything else, Spirit, that wants to come through? All right, I think on this note, and you confused them, there are things that aren't being talked about. Page of Swords in reverse, Judgment reversed. Can't see everything. They don't know everything. But we're taking it to the extended now. It's an hour long, this reading, which is fine for me actually, but and if it's not fine for you, obviously, you didn't have to watch it this far. In the extended, we're looking at, I wrote this down on the plane yesterday. We're gonna look at their intentions. We're gonna look at how aware they are of their intentions and like how purposeful they are with these intentions, or if they're kind of acting from an unaware, unconscious space. We're going to look at what action they will take next. We're gonna get channeled messages, and we're gonna get a message from your higher self as well about this connection, or something irrelevant if that's what we need to talk about. If you're interested, the link will be down below. And it was wonderful to read for you. I'll see you in a little bit if you're meeting me at the extended. If not, that is perfectly fine. I hope this reading was helpful. Hopefully see you again soon. I'm sending you tons of love. Take care and bye.